Okay, so it should go live here shortly. We will. It's coming, guys.
There we go.
There we go. So we should be live now. We're just going to give a couple of seconds for everyone to jump on board. Give it a couple minutes. I'm also going to double check to see here if I can see us. Today is sponsored by us. It's by us, and hey, how about that? It actually shows that it's live, both on Facebook and YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Oh, of course, it says multi-streaming with Restream.io. Oh my gosh, I'm paying for their services, and they're still advertising. All right, so a little change of pace. We are streaming today from our actual office, not from the conference room. And that's only because we don't want you guys hearing the faucet and
Microwave
utensils. Got a couple of comments that it wasn't the best setting. So this is the best that we can do right now. Promise. In the future, we'll have like a little backdrop. It'll get better. It'll get better. So, today's Friday.
July 19th, 2019.
Thank God it's Friday. Alright. So, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to do our three things: residential focus, a commercial focus, and then obviously, and finally, a in the news, kind of what's going on. We try to cover those three things to kind of cover all the spectrums that we serve. And so, talking real issues, real news with real clients that are out there, both locally here in the Tampa market that we service, but this obviously can go worldwide, and so we want to talk about things that can affect people anywhere. So first of all, let's jump off in the residential side of things. Locally here, especially in the North Tampa range, we've had a lot of clients discussing, frustrated with wireless issues in their home.
Yes.
And we've talked about wireless capacities, both commercially and residential, but we've come across a new setting recently, and new options recently for the residential sector that we've had a lot of success with, and getting good feedback with from our clients. And so I wanted to share a little bit the why people have issues with their wireless, and then kind of the resolution and how people actually can find success with the wireless options that are out there, and how they can shop more educatedly, and or call the professionals and know what to look for in that resolution. Educatedly. Is that really a word? It is today.
It is today.
It's Friday.
Complete IT guys.
We talk tech, not
That's true.
proper language.
Yeah, no. Look at our back wall.
So, when we're talking technologies,
yep.
For our local area, the local communities that we service, we have two providers, Spectrum and Frontier. They both come with the beautiful little black boxes. Why are we having so many issues in residences today with the wireless signals in the home?
Oh, in the home. Okay.
In the home, yeah.
So, I'll be honest. Those boxes that you're going to get from Spectrum, from Frontier, WOW, and really any of the major ISP providers or internet service providers, they're going to be great modems. However, we have found both old style and the new style that they just can't handle a lot of devices. They can't handle a lot of traffic, and honestly, and we'll talk about this later, if you start changing some settings within it to make it better for you and your home environment, they can lock up, and then you're gonna have to reset everything, and and then the Wi-Fi, just the range of them is horrible.
So let's break this down a little bit, because the consumer may not understand what a modem is, what a router is.
Yep.
And so sometimes we take for granted that we're talking about a box, and we just throw out terms.
Yep.
So what is a modem? What is a router? What are those components made of?
So a modem is, and Charlie's right behind me, so I'm probably going to hear a giggle here in a second from he's shaking his head already. So a modem is where the internet is actually brought into your home. simplest way. There's settings involved, there's numbers involved, but it's basically makes your network. It's what provides all the technical know-how to all your devices so that they can communicate not only with one another, laptop, printer, so on and so forth, but also to the outside world through the modem,
Gotcha.
through the gateway. I think that's
So-
the simplest way I can.
No, that's great. And I think one of the things that a lot of people expect, and especially in our market, I know, is when people receive that special little black box from the providers, the provider says, here's your internet, here's your Wi-Fi. Consumers, as they should, expect it to work well.
Yeah.
And so the issue is those special black boxes are not made in such a way to match what they're seeing in the homes today. Do you
That
want
is
to
correct.
kind of talk about the amount of coverage that those boxes will typically carry? Because I know we're starting to get more granular, but at the same time this is where it really gets real for most residences today.
Okay, so break it down how now? Do you want me to...
So the modem, okay, it's bringing internet into the house. That's great.
Yes.
But now they're wanting to stream on a smart TV in one room, a couple of iPads or tablets in another room. Why are they experiencing issues with that wireless? Where's that breakdown?
So, stock routers suck.
Okay.
The stock modems and and routers, they're horrible. I don't use the stocker at my house. I don't know very many people that do that actually care about speed in their home. The reason for this is some of the stock routers, which we've seen in the past, they don't even have the new Wi-Fi 6 capabilities,
Yeah.
which is also known as Wi-Fi AC.
And that's the actual signal that is being sent for the Wi-Fi. There's
Yeah.
different Wi-Fi signals being sent out.
And Wi-Fi AC, and Charlie's leaving because he's laughing at me. He's shaking his head. So basically what happens is that... Sanity. So, okay. Anyways, guys. So 2.4 gigahertz is... Most routers have 2.4 and 5.0. Just plain and simple. 2.4 is good for far away, but it's going to be lower speeds. 5.0 is going to be better for up close, but it's faster. Stock routers sometimes have an issue with going between both, which is why if you ever log into a router or you try to log in someone's stuff, you'll see their network regular is usually the 2.4, and then at the end of the
5G.
5G, it's not, and it's, now we have cell phone 5G. It's
Yeah.
not even
Not the same thing.
it's not even the same thing, but that means 5 gigahertz
Yeah.
in Wi-Fi terms. And honestly, like I said, the stock routers just can't go the distance, which is why they start using the extenders. But then the extenders, say you start off with 300 megabytes per second at the router, your main router, and then you're getting 20 on the other side of the house. They'll put an extender in. So the extender in the middle of the house is going to take that 300. Say at that point in time it's going to be 150. It's then going to try to extend that outward. It's not going to extend the 300. It's
Yeah.
going to extend whatever it receives. So then the other person, instead of getting 20, they may get like 75, which a lot of people are excited about. But you're also paying for each piece of equipment.
Yeah.
The router is $5 usually, between 5 and 10, and each extender is between 5 and 10. It's sometimes cheaper, and honestly, I won't say sometimes, it is cheaper in the long run for the benefit of what you're actually getting to just get an aftermarket router. It's not a bad thing. Best Buy has an entire aisle dedicated to it, right next to all of their what they call IoT devices, which is Internet of Things, because there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
So
There's certainly a need here. We just got a question in through the chat portal. Awesome question. Internet is always going down. Real life question here. I'm always having to power on and off my modems. Seems to fix it for about a day or two and then goes out. It goes out again. Any idea of a good router to buy? Do we have one specific one that we want to recommend, or a solution that we would?
So my thing is the internet going in or out, or is the modem?
Okay.
I would actually, if this is really happening, I would, for one, this is a perfect excuse to get a new router. So I would get an Arrow router. We sell them. Best Buy sells them. Do not get an Arrow router through your internet service provider. They are not the same. They say they are, they're not. But we can put ours next to one of theirs, and we get different results. I would try out a different router first. If that doesn't work, I would then call the internet service provider and say, can I please get a new modem router? Because it actually could be one of two things. But that's a good excuse to just go ahead and get,
You
the,
have
ra-
enough
get,
basis.
get the router.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
And-
enough basis to try it.
Yeah, it's why is it going out though? That's kind of weird. I would go with the Arrow, EERO.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. App based, all nine yards.
There's a lot of flexibility that you can do and customization that you can do with this particular one. We've been recommending that for our own clients on a regular basis. It even has some options that you can choose to use long term.
Yep.
It's a one-time purchase, so even if you change your provider, I know in this market a lot of people have been going back and forth between the two providers, cost savings and things like that. You can keep that same router and the same customization because all of it again is that modem is simply your gateway for the internet to come into the house.
Now I do want to add to that real quick.
Mhm.
So depending on how big the square footage is of
Yes.
the home.
Yeah.
So we've tested the Arrow anywhere from a 1,200 square foot home up to, I believe the biggest one we've done is 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 12 to 2,000 square foot home, honestly, it covers it very well. It doesn't have to be always directly in the middle of the home.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the home structure.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Arrow installed on the side of the home, not outside, like on an office on the side of the home,
Mm-hmm.
and then it covers the whole area. I know my house in particular, it's under 2,000 square feet, and I actually get Wi-Fi outside, and I have a block home. Now it's rebar. That's all. There's a lot of interference, but I still get good reception.
Mm-hmm.
For a home that's more than 2,000 square foot, it really depends on the home. I would try going with one first,
Yeah.
and if one doesn't work, get two. The difference is that this is not, when you add a second one, it's not an extender. It uses something called a mesh network. It's completely different.
Let's speak to that a little bit because
Okay.
these extenders do one function based off of what the ISP, the internet providers are giving them, but what we are recommending, what we offer as a solution is different. So let's compare and contrast a little bit.
The easiest way, because I can't get into technical specifications, because I would lose myself in this conversation. Extending costs the same or more as mesh, but doesn't do as good of a job as mesh.
Okay.
Mesh extenders have been out for, I worked for Best Buy in 2007, and we had extenders then.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only thing that you could do,
Mhm.
really.
That was the only option at that
Yeah,
point.
mesh really started coming out, really being popular about 3 or 4 years ago, and in the past year or two, they've really gotten their stuff together on them. So they're, depending on what brand name it is, they do a really good job.
Cool.
Yep.
That mesh system has been a better blanket or a better covering for the house than the extender typically does with consistent internet level.
And I will say this, we have had instances where we've went into a home and they complain that they're on the network and they can't print to a printer. And it turns out that they actually had multiple networks.
Mhm.
Someone thought they knew what they were doing. They just installed all these access points and everything, made every single one a different network. When I'm talking about our mesh network, you only have one network,
Mhm.
one Wi-Fi, one Ethernet. It's one. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And if you're in the Tampa market, we'd love to help you out individually.
Yep.
We can come on site and
Tampa
talk
Bay.
about customize your specific needs. We'd love to do that for you. But this is a real thing that we're seeing routinely. So
Oh, yeah.
that's a good conversation.
Oh yeah.
Let's jump to the commercial side of things now.
Okay.
More enterprise business discussion. We've had several clients recently talking about file sharing in the office setup.
Yes.
Some have had servers. We talked about servers previously. Do we need them? But now let's talk about more of, okay, they're trying to weigh their options. They don't have a server, but they need to share files. What is the best approach that we would give an office, say 3 to 5, maybe 7 members that are, wanting to share files back and forth?
Yeah.
What can we provide just as a starting point?
Oh, you love doing these. Okay. There's no one answer. Charlie will love that I said that. There is no, because I'm the type of, I just like doing one thing and that's it.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
But in this case, there are like 5 different kinds of file share options, ranging in price and ranging in, honestly, the biggest thing right now is complexity. Does the client want us to maintain the system afterwards, or do they want to maintain it?
Yeah.
That right there is like answer 1. Answer 2 would, question 2, question 1, question 2 would be, price point. Question 3 would be backup. So yes, we're doing file share system. Are they wanting it to be backed up on site? So for example, a RAID. A RAID, say you have 5 drives, we can set it up so that one of those 5 drives could technically fail, but it's still good. We can also set it up so that 2 of those 5 drives could fail, but everything's okay. Or you can set it up so that if you have 2 drives, one drive could fail and the other one is okay. Or just a whole bunch of hard drives giving you a whole bunch of space, but if one drive fails, you're done.
Yeah.
And then you also have like offsite backups, which sometimes we do a RAID on site, and then God forbid they have a fire or something, or something happens, flood, burglaries, or something. At least we have some type of backup offsite.
Yeah, that's one of those things for us in the what we're seeing is people trying to get creative. For cost purposes, for hey, I'm remote half the time, I'm on site half the time. What can we do? And so again, that goes back to what we specialize in, some of our customization things. As much as it makes you cringe having to say, there's 5 options, we've had to pursue all 5 options or more.
We've done everything from just building a custom PC that worked as a file sharing device, perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we used commercial components. We didn't use residential. To legitimate NAS drive systems, but then you also have to think about QuickBooks. So we had issues with QuickBooks 2 or 3 years ago, where they said you can use a NAS drive. We found out you can't. It just doesn't work. So then you had to use a computer to do QuickBooks Server, and then sometimes it's still cheaper just to get a separate NAS system. It all depends, guys. I mean, I'm not talking about you have to go out and spend $5,000. That's the way it used to be. We are actually taking people off servers because they just don't need them. They need something simpler. So, and I just lost my video, so I don't exactly know what that means. I'm hoping we're still good.
That was weird.
So yeah, I hope that answered. If you have any questions, give us a call, 813-444-4355. We'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, we can customize it to your specifications and your structure that you're working with. All right, it's July 2019. Tariffs are a real thing.
Yeah.
A few months ago we were talking about, hey, these tariffs are a possibility. We need to be aware of them. Now we're in the technology realm specifically. Let's face it, probably 90-95% of technology comes from overseas, especially the East, the Far East. What are we seeing? What are some of the results of these tariffs being in place?
Like what's going on? We just had some of our manufacturers send out brand new pricing within the last 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and it's changed. Firewalls, 25 to 50% increases. Like, what the heck's going on? Well, we heard through the grapevine that, and I don't know how true this is. I really don't. I've never been a part of importing or tariffs. This is literally through the grapevine from a distributor about a manufacturer. He said that one of his manufacturers were not getting the tariff bill when it came through the port. So they're like, oh, this is fine. Everyone's telling them it's fine. They just got the bill.
Late.
And they've been selling all this product at a certain price, and now it's, I don't know what their margins are, but I don't think they made any money. And one guy told me that the tariffs on one manufacturer in particular brought in their stuff could fund a small country. It was like $200 million for like a day. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? We've been contacted by, this is funny, by smaller steady, but then some of the bigger players are hurting. And they have taken on some of the cost.
Yeah.
But if it keeps going the way it is, I'll be honest, Black Friday is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. We just came through the recent Prime Day.
Yeah.
And prices were once again fantastic for most technologies.
Yeah.
I don't know how many social media posts I saw around the country of people excited and celebrating their amazing. Be aware that things that you quoted or were quoted, even 3 months ago, are likely to have changed in that time. So I hope that you're aware of that and you're kind of taking resulting appropriate measures, because those things can be an ugly surprise when you actually go to pull the trigger on a purchase of something.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't, week to week right now is what we're in fact, some of our projects can take 8 months to actually land.
Yeah.
And we actually have one project, it took a year for them to get all their paperwork together in order to go forward. It's a big project, and we're actually going to have to go over it today or next week and go over every line item.
Yeah.
Because it has changed in price so much. And sometimes they're not going to get, if they're at a certain budget, they're going to get a different quality.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to figure out some way of doing it. But it's going to hit both residential and business and industrial. It's hitting everyone. It's just not hitting us as quickly as I think.
It's been a little bit more of a trickle than we expected,
Yeah.
but it is starting to certainly be in place and
Yeah.
making its presence known. So,
Yeah.
well, I don't see any more chat questions right now.
No. Let's ask. Anyone have any questions? If not, we're going to get some grub.
We'll be
Yeah, I
back,
do this.
but you can always reach out to us. We are on Facebook, and we do have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
If you have questions, we'd love to try to answer them directly. That way we can be beneficial to our clientele and to you as the consumer, and talk tech and help you out with that kind of stuff. So, thank you for attending.
I don't see any more questions, so we're out here. We're going to get some good.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, guys. How do I quit? We're currently streaming. Okay, I'll wait until